All right. In the wide-ranging interview I just conducted with President Trump, we discussed everything from Newsom's rise, China's chokehold on rare earths and other things. Of course, the shutdown mania and what it did to Chuck Schumer. Hakeem Jeffries looks like he might be challenged from the left, too. Anyway, it turned into a spirited discussion about the hundreds of thousands of Chinese students entering the country. Now, we don't see eye to eye and everything, but he knows that I respect him and that I know he's going to do what it takes to protect American interests.
I get along great with China, but the only way you're going to get along well with China is you have to deal from a position of strength. We have tremendous strength because of tariffs. We have tremendous strength because of what I've done. I've rebuilt our military, and they have a lot of missiles, but we have a lot of missiles, too. And they don't want to mess around with us.
Here with a reaction to my sit-down with President Trump, Ned Ryan, American Majority founder and CEO, Alex Marlow, Breitbart editor-in-chief, and Raymond Arroyo, Fox News contributor, who was there for the interview and also in the Oval afterward. Ned, your biggest takeaway from tonight?
Two things. One, it was Trump that instilled the backbone into Republicans and did not let them cave. Again, we all know this was about two things: Schumer's terrible poll numbers, trying to avoid a challenge by AOC, and also the fact that Democrats were once again trying to launder American taxpayer dollars with $1.5 trillion in health care for illegals to empower themselves, keep them around, get them counted in the census, and also hopefully eventually try to figure out how to become voting members for Democrats. The other thing was the affordability issue. I thought that was a really good question. And you asked, is it voter perception or is there more to do? And I think it's both, Laura. I think the Trump economy is really starting to ramp up. GDP might be 4% in the fourth quarter, inflation 2.7 to 2.9. Trump's increasing 1 million barrels of oil a day, so it's going to drive down energy costs, which drives down grocery prices, which also drives down product prices. But I think they need to do more. I think there's more to be done by Republicans and Trump. First of all, they have to compare it to the Biden economy, but also more deregulation, more tax cuts, a lot of things. So I think it's both. So I was really fascinated by that topic.
Yeah, Alex, the president said he's working to make sure Dems don't shut the government down again. Watch this.
But we're trying to put in a bill, as you know, the bill or a bill, that you can never do that again. You can't just shut down the government because you're trying to renegotiate a deal that you didn't.
Alex, the Democrats lost this gamble. It was a bad gamble. Your reaction to the president tonight?
Yeah, Jeanne Shaheen said, Democrat who was one of those who caved today, that she said she voted to open the government to end the suffering. So, well, what changed, Senator? It was your vote changed. You decided you would open it up. So you're basically admitting the whole Democrat Party were the ones behind the suffering. Terrific interview, Laura. No softball there. You really got the president to open up on a lot of things. I'll give you highlight, low light in between. Highlight for me was the last question. I've been thinking a lot as a Catholic and a Christian about Trump saying he's not going to make heaven. Of all the good he's done to give the greatest country on earth that God ever created a fighting chance, I feel like what bad could he have possibly done in his past that he wouldn't make heaven? I was glad to hear him talk about that. I feel comforted from it. Low light for me is the China stuff. I don't think the American universities need to be importing a bunch of Chinese students. I take it that's not literal, that this is negotiation. But that was, of course, not an answer as America First guy I would give. The one that I'm looking at down the road, though, is Ned's point. The affordability issue is not enough just to say the economy is doing well. I want to see some better messaging out of all Republicans and conservatives on this particular topic. That's why we lost last week, and we need to start messaging better. The Democrats are the reason why this country's unaffordable for so many. Yeah,
Raymond, the president was frustrated by, I think, the Republicans' failure to message this economy and stop complaining about the Democrats and start talking about how great things are getting. And it takes time. He said this. He's only been in office 10 months.
Well, but his own people, Sean Duffy, Scott Bessent, they went out and they rang the alarm and said, guys, if we don't open up this government, the planes are going to be canceled. Your holiday plans are over. And Bessent was saying your holidays are going to be smashed. Things won't make it into the country. They put the pressure on. It's a pity that other Republicans across the caucus didn't do the same.
Including about the overall economy, because that affordability issue, which the Angle warned about last March, the Angle started warning about that because they were going to try to pretend that Joe Biden didn't cause this. But nevertheless, President Trump is president now, and he's saying, look, we've done this, we've done. That's what a president should do. You don't want him to say, oh, the malaise is in the country. It's not.
I got to tell you, sitting in the room watching this, when he came in, the president was relaxed.
Yeah, have you seen him that way before?
Not only did you get him to relax and open up, there was a little sparring, but it was in the family. Didn't get nasty. I like that you challenged him. I like that he calmly said, no, Laura, we're not going to agree, but, and then he made his case. There was an affability about him and a real optimism. He said something during the interview. He said, I like to figure things out. That's what I do in life.
Yeah, so
I thought that's really the motto of the whole administration.
Yeah, Ned, that's the point. If the court strikes down the tariffs, he said, like, it's a disaster, but I'll figure it out because that's what I do.
Mm-hmm. He will, but I also think he's got very firm footing with the Trade Act from 1962 and 1974. There are multiple sections in both of those trade acts that give the president the right to do tariffs, to explore and deal with unfair trade practices, which again is what Trump is trying to do. So if for some reason SCOTUS strikes this down, and I kind of think they're going to be a bit more nuanced than taking away his ability across the board, he'll figure it out. He'll find a way. Again, it's one of those things that we cannot underestimate. It is central to his economic plan, and I would remind people yet again, the CBO, which is not a fan of Trump's, even they said tariffs can and will cut $4 trillion from the federal deficit over the next decade. It's an important piece for us reducing the national debt, so I sincerely hope SCOTUS makes the right decision on it.
Yeah, and Alex, I mean, we have to know that the Senate, for the most part, doesn't want the tariffs. They're not for the tariffs. So Trump he's dealing with a Republican Party that's not all MAGA, it's not all pro-tariffs. Everyone knows I love the tariffs. But they don't like the tariffs. They're getting heat from businesses about them, suppliers, getting component parts more expensive, et cetera, et cetera. But Trump is dedicated to this agenda, and it is paying off. But it's going to take a little bit of time. Next year, he thinks the economy, the first half of the economy especially, is going to go gangbusters. And a lot of other people agree with him on that.
Laura, this is sort of surreal that it could be the Supreme Court that could block this, because Trump was going up against both parties with this tariff narrative. You and I are completely simpatico on this, but we debated more Republicans more than even Democrats on this issue. Everyone said, from the Democrats to Republican economists, saying that this is going to be inflationary. It wasn't inflationary at all. It's creating money flowing into our Treasury. Trump's got to be completely overjoyed, and to think a conservative Supreme Court could block it, that would be very, very disappointing and upsetting.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.